I like how quickly Charita Asalanka is scoring runs.
Oh man, we'll have to look after our domestic cricketers. Welcome to Sri Lankan Cricket Podcast. My name's Vida, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Sohan. How are you doing, Bora?
Doing good, Vida. Good to be up here doing another episode. What are we hoping to have a chat on today?
Yeah, so Sri Lanka won the one-day series against Zimbabwe and collected valuable points in the one-day Super League. And they've gone up to 6th place in the table. And Sri Lanka under-19 boys are through to the quarterfinals, beating Scotland, Australia and West Indies in the group stages. We are unbeaten in the tournament so far. And Sri Lanka women cricketers are in Malaysia playing Commonwealth Games 2022 qualifiers, and they have won all 3 games so far. So Sri Lanka cricket in a purple patch, winning all the games in the last couple of weeks. We talk about domestic cricket. National Cricket League one-day tournament to kick off on 24th of January. So they've announced a 5-team tournament. We'll talk about that as well. So let's start with Zimbabwe series, Bora. That was a much-needed series win for us. We were in a spot of bother because we lost the second one there, but boys managed to come back and win the third one and clinch the series.
Yeah, good result. I think when we were recording the first pod, it was a tight game. We were chasing 300 in Sri Lanka is not an easy task, so we got that over the line. Second game, again close game, but couldn't make it. But Dasun Chanaka scored 100. And then going into the last game, won it convincingly. So overall, a good series. I know we play in Zimbabwe, but that's a seasoned team in terms of the playing group. There are a lot of guys are more experienced across the format. So it turned out to be a good series for us to win, because it's the first series, I think, after the change of coaches but a lot of the boys have to work on their own and stuff, so it's a bit of different styles taking over. So nonetheless, a lot of positives that we'll be hoping to cover in this chat, and we came out on the top, winning. So overall, pretty good effort.
Yeah, 100%. I remember the times where we treated Zimbabwe and Bangladesh. We treated those series as stepping stone to try out for youngsters. It's not the case anymore, because when you look at our one-day team, 50-over format is our weakest format at the moment. I think we are doing well in Test cricket, especially at home, and T20 cricket as well. But 50-over cricket is like a mini test, and we tend to lose these little battles inside the 50-over game until we get a core group of players, until they get few games under their belt. We will have these close games against even weaker teams. So that's something we have to work with at the moment. But it was a great win. It was a good comeback. And in the last game, it was a flat pitch, a bit of turn in the pitch as well. So Sri Lanka managed to get 254, and Zimbabwe completely outplayed. They got only 70 chasing the runs. When you look at the series performances, Bora, most runs was by Sean Williams of Zimbabwe, but Pathum Nissanka and Charita Asalanka, they scored 146 runs each with 250s. And Captain Dasun Chanaka scored his maiden 100, as you mentioned earlier. Got us close to a win in the second one day. And the comeback boy, Van de Sey, he ended up with most wickets, with 9 wickets in the series, with the best figures of 4 for 10 in the third one-day internationals. And Kusal Mendes opening the batting and keeping wickets. He had few starts, but he didn't really kick on and made a big one, but he looked good in the short stays, opened the batting. So lots of positives in this series, Bora.
Overall, yeah, exactly right. I think a lot of positives. The good thing is good result for the guys coming back. That was your Kusal Mendes, Chandimal's, Jeffrey Van der Sey's, in the, it's a short 3-match series, but they managed to put in some results in. Yeah, Kusal Mendes would have liked to have gotten a bigger score in one of the three knocks, but managed to still, like you said, they managed to get a few 30s, look good behind the stumps.
Hmm.
Good, I saw him take a good catch, few stump ins as well. So it will give him confidence. We keep enjoying seeing the innings that is being put in by Charit Tasalanka, Pathum Nisanka. They seem to have taken the mantle of this batters, the specialist
Yeah.
batters, by putting in that scores, and now the Kusal Mendis and Dinesh Chandimas are the second fiddle rather
Yep.
than it was the other way around. So they've managed to
Hmm.
swap it around. Um, I like how quickly Charita Asalanka is scoring runs.
Oh man.
That's really good. That strike rate's a pretty good one. Overall positive going into, I mean, the next series is, I think it's the T20 Australian series. So it will be an
Yeah.
overall good series for us.
Yeah. I mean, we were going to talk about that later, but now that you mentioned about the Australia series, maybe we'll do it now. But if we are coming into Australia, we'll need a couple more fast bowlers in the side, isn't it, Bora? Nuwan Pradeep was a bit expensive in the second one day, and so they brought in Ramesh Mendis for the third one day. I think we'll need someone like Lahir Kumara in the team if you're playing against Australia in Australia. He's having a bit of a trouble with his fitness, but because Dushmantha is bowling really well, he took 2 wickets with the new ball that set the scene to get Zimbabwe side out for a low score in the third one day. We have enough spinners in the team, but we'll have to look after our fast bowlers. I don't know what's happening with Lahir Kumar's situation, but he's the next guy who we have who can bowl fast.
Yeah, I think Lahir Kumar has to be in the mix. I mean, coming off the series or we refer the World T20, the last series we had where we were all excited about two bowlers bowling 140 plus.
Yeah.
Um, towards like Australia, England, New Zealand, South Africa, you need those two quicks as the X factor. Over here, we just had the Ashes conclude, and we saw what a big difference Mark Wood was making bowling that 145 plus balls, and they needed that. You need that
Yeah.
X factors. Um, we need those guys coming into the mix. We've got a good group of spin bowlers, but unfortunately, when you're playing on good tracks, you tend to be playing with one specialist spinner, and if we got a strong batter, you go with be able to add that spinach. Like for example, because Vanidu's batting is so strong, it almost assists us to get another spinner in.
Mm.
But we need our fast bowlers. The all-round spot is filled. I mean,
Yeah.
Asun can bowl a few, Chamika can bowl a few,
Mm.
Dushman, Lahiru Kumara comes in, just makes the team look really good on paper at least, and sets us up well when you're going into a match. It's a good feel good factor knowing okay, I've got two guys 140 plus, got an all rounder. It covers a lot of departments.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm sure Lahiru Kumara knows what he needs to work on. He's gotten his break to improve that side of things. So that's a area that he'll want to improve and make a statement, come back. Just popping back into our batting order looks pretty stable. I mean, the positives are now the guys who are trying to break in looks makes the team look even better. Like you got guys like Avishka Fernando, Dhananjay De Silva. At certain stage he'll come back from parental
Yep.
leave, and then
Banuka,
Panuka Rajapaksa,
we don't know what's going to happen with him
Danushka Gunatilaka, those are
yeah,
names, um, that
in
will
the
come into
mix.
the mix. Good.
Yeah, so they're going to start in Sydney. They're going to play 2 matches in Sydney, then they move into Canberra to play one, and they come down to Melbourne to play 2 T20. So you're going to go and watch one, Bora? What's the plan? I think we should go.
Yeah, hoping to make some time to go out and watch a game. I mean, Sri Lanka it doesn't tour regularly out here. Given a chance, Melbourne has a big community, and there's going to be good numbers for that game. So yeah, we'll be hoping to watch a live game and get to
Yeah.
meet some of the guys. I mean, Tasun Shanaka played a few
Hmm.
games with him. To the juniors with you know them better. Dushmanta
Hmm.
Chamir from NCC. If few of the NCC boys tag along as well, definitely would like to catch up and have a chat on
Yeah,
how things were.
let's do it. Let's check the dates and let's do it, Bora.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Sri Lanka under 19s. From that, they've done really well in the group stages, won all 3 games, and they are playing Afghanistan in the quarterfinals on 27th. And our under 19 captain, Dunit Vellalage, is on a roll, isn't he, Bora? He's taking wickets, scoring runs. That game against West Indies, that was a good chase. So I think when you look at the matches we played, I think we played some tough games in that group. So coming into a quarterfinal, I think when it comes to preparations, I think we've done what we have to do. Our bowlers are bowling well, the batters are getting runs, and everything seems to click at the moment. Just have to keep winning from this stage. So sudden death round starting on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Sorry, on 27th. I think that's a Thursday.
Yeah. It's a good format, I think, for under 19 players. You play round robin, get the feel of it, get more exposure playing matches, and now going into the knockout stages and working through. So it's a good competition. I think the boys have been doing well, starting from the captain downwards. Because of the time difference between the games being played, and in Melbourne, we normally get up and we see the last bit of the game and the scores. And I was following the West Indies game where we were chasing the score, and it felt, it looked like we had it in control in terms of the balls and runs. But then it was at a stage of having 4 wickets left, 3 wickets left, but we managed, close it in our favor. And good wins. Australia, West Indies, those are good teams to beat at under 19 level. Now comes the knockout stages. Afghanistan, if their cricket's at a strong base at junior levels. So that will be a good game for the boys. So preparation wise, skills wise, they've done what is needed. Now it's how can they match Afghanistan tactically. So to do that, the management, we've got a good setup there within that group to match tactics. And I'm sure they'll give their best shot from now on. I think we spoke about at an earlier episode about at under 19 level the Asian teams tend to be stronger holds. And it's almost setting up for something like that. So let's keep an eye out on the next few results. I think this is one of the better performances at under 19 World Cup level for Sri Lanka.
It's been a while.
Because growing up cricket, you always follow under 19. My first memories of an under 19 senior tournament is when Malinta Gajanayaka was the captain of the under 19 2000. Sri Lanka hosted that tournament, and there are a lot of stars. I can't remember my age, but I was a junior watching those because some of the games were shown on TV as well. There were some good players that grew up to represent Sri Lanka. You had the likes of Tilna Kandambi, Muthu Pushpa Kumara, Ian Daniel, Jehan Mubarak. I think I remember almost the full team. Lokuarachi, Veera Kaushal. So few good players that went on to represent, and we made it to the finals. And for me, that was after that we had a lot of teams. Teams of my age, my peers, they played under 19 cricket. We didn't make the finals, and so on. I think that was the best performance from us as under 19 group from my memory. I might be wrong. If there are any listeners, please do share that. I think after that, this could be something of a similar setup. I was reading in the media in 2016. I think we made it to a knockout stage or somewhere close.
That was the last time.
Not being remembering means not a lot of cricket would have been there. So this good effort by the boys.
Yeah, good luck to them. Hopefully they'll win, and good luck to the coaching staff as well. Lavishka Gunawardena and former under-19 captain Sajid Patirana there as well. So good luck to them. We'll keep an eye on that. And the Sri Lanka women cricketers finally playing some cricket, Bora. Remember we talked about this a long time ago. We had a interview
Yeah.
episode with Estelle as well. The lack of cricket our women cricketers are playing, and finally they are playing some cricket in Malaysia, playing Commonwealth Games 2022 qualifiers, and they won all 3 games so far. As predicted, Chamari Atapattu is dominating with her batting, but in the last game, Harshita Madhavi has scored a good half century as well. So it's good to see them play some cricket. We need more cricket for women cricketers against good oppositions.
Yeah, that will help them up their skills. I'll be amazing with what Chamari is achieving within uh, limited skill set from a country that is still growing and learning sport of cricket, and Chamari is miles ahead from that group, and she's an amazing ambassador for the game. Yeah, even in the Big Bash over here, she most of the tournaments she goes, she tends to get the runs, competes with
Yeah,
the peers, do well. So um, she is good value. She's
yeah,
just amazing athlete. And it's unfortunate that there was a year that she couldn't, entertain, play, and represent the team. But uh, hope that's in the past. Now it's how can we, fixture in more games, get more exposure for players like Chamari.
yeah,
People who see, the more you see the Chamaris play, the more the girls or underage girls are gonna say, look, that's a role model. I wanna, look
mm,
up to her games, enjoy that sport, watch the success she's having. So that's how we spur juniors or anyone to get a keen interest on the game.
yeah, absolutely. Let's keep an eye on that tournament in the next stage, and we'll talk about it in the next episode. Let's move on to our domestic cricket, Bora. Finally, there's some domestic cricket playing in
Yep.
Sri Lanka. They're going to kick it off on 24th of January. National Super League. Well, it comes with a new name, but it's the same old provincial tournament, isn't it? But this time they've changed the way they pick the sides. They've allocated a few clubs into each province. All 26 first-class playing clubs have been divided into groups, and they will pick players from those clubs into each provinces, and they will have a center of excellence to practice and do their
Yep.
training as well. So the 5 teams are Colombo, Jaffna, Galle, Kandy, and Damulla. And so Sri Lanka's top 100 cricketers will be playing in this competition, and they're going to start with a 1-day tournament. The word is they're going to play a 4-day tournament as well. With a tournament like this, Bora, if they can play more matches like home and away series, because it's only 5 teams, at least they'll have to play each other twice, isn't it, to have a quality tournament, and giving an opportunity for players to get the maximum out of this tournament. It's a good thing that's we've been talking about a quality tournament. Now finally it's happening. What are your thoughts
Yeah.
about this tournament?
Oh, it's a good result. I think we were looking at back and trying to find what's the tournament that the domestic players can play during this period, um, and then trying to find, okay, you know, players, what do they have to do, what tournament they can be involved. So there's a lot of unclear or no communication at all if there's going to be a tournament or not. That's kind of where I find it is an area where we could improve. We could have, I mean, the tournament, if you're playing, we need to have a certain bit of notice so the players can adjust, get used to
Mm,
it. Nonetheless, it's overall a positive one. I mean, we talk about having to have a structure where players can compete amongst themselves, and the best players come out on top by getting it goes up and in a similar to a pyramid. We got your domestic
Yeah.
or the club structure. It's a flat, got 20 teams or 30
Mm.
teams. Next level would be, okay, who's the best out of that crew playing together,
Yeah.
and then filtering up further. So they've put it into plan now, which is a good sign. We'd like this to be the next 5-year plan rather than 1 year
Yeah.
and then forget about it and try working things out, which has been a trend with Sri Lanka cricket in the past. If it's a structure for the 5-year plan, within the first year, there's gonna be a lot of teething effects, trying to work out scenarios. Okay, once it's all good to say this is what's a tournament we're going to play, but you're going to come across practical problems as you play
Yeah.
along. And playing a one-day tournament is a good way to find out what are those practical problems and work a solution to it.
Mm.
A good example is the Big Bash League, which just is at the final end, and um, through the tournament rules or whatnot, Steve Smith couldn't get into the Sydney Sixers team. So
Oh, I, I,
um,
I can't understand that. Like you're playing playing a
you got your
domestic tournament. You want your best players to play in that tournament if they're available. And
yeah.
yeah,
So
that was a
similar to
bizarre.
so similar scenarios like that, Sri Lanka cricket's gonna come across as well through the tournaments, because they seem to have fixed it so quickly.
Yeah.
Already, okay, the questions have been asked, how did you divide the teams or whatnot to select the players? SSC, NCC tend to have about 9 to 10 national players.
Yeah.
So they want that 10 players playing in that top level. So then how do you manage the other team? I remember playing in a provincial one-day tournament with this was 2012, 2013. I can't exactly remember.
Adurata?
Now this was with Wayamba. So
Oh,
I
yep,
mean,
yep.
yeah. So I played for Kandurata, then went for Wayamba. Those are the changes that happened. But Wayamba, we had NCC and Bloomfield in our mix, and I think we
Yes.
played against SSCs. Or I can't remember what the province name was, but bulk of their players was SSC. So we had about, pretty sure it was 9 NCC players and 2 Bloomfield players. The two
Right.
Bloomfield, I think Dilshan Munavira and I
Suraj?
can't remember. Might be Suraj Randev or Nuwan Pradeep or
Ah, yeah.
one of those. So that's how big the squads were, and the struggle was to get into that 11. So, um, but now you're hearing players trickling into different clubs, so there might be a balance. I don't know, but I still feel SSC is going to have a strong group of players. Similar, CCC has a strong
Yeah.
group of players. Moors they'll have. So how
Hmm.
does Levan find it into it?
Army. Yeah.
So again, that will be as you play along, then players will start selecting, okay, if I need to align my career and play into a province, I probably need to move and be smart about the clubs I select now. That could be another
Yeah.
scenario that's going to happen if it's a 5-year scenario.
Yeah.
um, and in Sri Lanka, I've seen players hop clubs like next to other. So
Yeah.
there are people, they want to change clubs, they're going to change clubs. So
Yeah.
those are the teething effects I see.
Hmm.
Nonetheless, good exposure, because we said we
Yeah.
need players, coaches, management getting exposed to a higher grade. That's what's happening. Like the
Hmm.
likes of Kandas, Jehans, Avishkas, they're getting
Yeah.
up and getting exposed there, which is good.
No, no, that's so good. One point you mentioned, Bora, about the communication. So we don't know what's going to happen with the club tournament, right? You're going to select players from the club tournament into these provinces. We haven't heard anything about what's going to happen with the normal club tournament. I've seen the disappointment of some mostly senior cricketers in Sri Lanka, especially on social media,
Mm.
regarding this matter, because they need to know what's happening, because some of these
Yep.
players, it's their livelihood. They
Yes.
have to make decisions. I spoke about this earlier as well. Communication is the key. They if nothing's if no cricket's happening in the club scenario, they'll have to make decisions about their lives. So Sri Lanka cricket is not the best when it comes to communicating. We tend to arrange things in the last minute. The players who miss out, what are they going to do?
Yeah, communication generally has been a top-down method with Sri Lanka cricket, and a more, how do I say it? It's more, this is it and this is how it's gonna run scenario. So
And it's always last minute.
yeah, a concept like this would have, ideally you want to be, it's all right, we still got time. Yes, we're playing a one day tournament, but they should be able to filter it down, say this is the next 5 years, this is how the calendar of cricket's going to work out domestically. You have our one day tournament across the clubs. The best of the players get selected to play a one day a provincial tournament or get selected into that province. 4 day cricket, they probably play 3 day club cricket and go 4 day provincial cricket. That might be a cornerstone of what's going to happen. And then filter on to the domestic tournament. But they got to keep in mind there is a calendar of cricket that we can play domestically. We can't play a whole year of cricket as first class or domestic tournaments. So
Yeah.
They'll need a bit more clarity on that. Over here, generally, cricket carries on for about 6 months. So in Sri Lanka, if you start November, December, and we go up till March, April,
End of March.
March, how we can make use of it, that's something that's for the decision makers to make. And I'm confident that the technical committee would have given it a bit of thought. It's just that maybe there are challenges they are facing that they can't communicate it out straight away. And if they get them, they probably are happy with some of the changes they're getting. But we'd like to see a bit more feedback. It's easy for us with we are not in that domestic cricket structure at the moment, but I feel for some of the domestic players who are in that circuit where you're still trying to, probably trying to break through, make a comeback, or, see how you can set up domestically and plan around it. So seeing that disappointments or sadness in some of the players, I do feel for them, and I hope that the people or the players holding positions hear that bit and think about it. That's the cricket that we want to look after. We tend to make players disheartened really quickly and then try to mend what happened. By that time, it's a bit too late. We need to do that before it happens.
No, you're absolutely right, Bora. We'll have to look after our domestic cricketers if we want to have a strong Sri Lanka cricket team. We have to look after them. That's the only way.
Yeah, exactly. I think if we consider, a more serious downside effect or worst case scenario would be the seasoned domestic players will start thinking, okay, I need to either consider cricket's over, life after cricket, make amends, go overseas and probably look at permanent avenues to, and earn money. There's a lot of domestic cricket going around, or international countries giving that opportunities to play cricket. That's a serious downside effect that could happen. So we know that, we've spoken about that in the last few years. Every seasoned cricketer tends to talk about that. And I'm sure the guys holding positions also are aware of it. So that's the downside effect they need to stop and help. You hear some of the coaches say the players are not ready, they don't know to learn of seasoned players or how to play in a structured environment. It's going to be okay, the first class cricket's not the best. Where does the specialized coaching come, where they can help these players up? So it's a topic that we can always have a long night talking about back and
Yeah.
forth, specialized routine, first class structure. Where's the right mix?
Shall we move on to a listener question, Bora, before we
Yeah,
wrap
happy
it
to.
up?
I think be mindful of the time we've got. I think that's a good way to head
Yeah.
into.
This is from Asanka from Maharagama. He goes, can I request you to do a weekly episode in Sinhala as well? So
Yeah,
this is, I had few friends messaging me and asking about this as well, Bora.
yeah,
Because this is when we to be frank with our listeners, when we started this, we wanted to do this podcast in both languages. But when we look at the analytics where the listeners are coming from, we have listeners from all over the world, from Australia, UK, USA, the Caribbean, the Middle East. So that's why we kept this podcast in English. But that's something we can look into, Bora. Up to you. It's another day of recording, but you think you'll be able to get away for another hour?
be able to squeeze in a Sinhalese episode for our viewers. I think we'll give it a bit of thought. If not weekly, at least fortnightly,
Yeah,
we take that idea on board. I think we started this podcast think like with like exactly how you said we want to do add a few, and we started learning about who our listeners are, and then we kept moving along. Something definitely to add on, and we'll take on board. We'll yeah, excited
yeah,
for that segment if we kick it off.
yeah, yeah. No, I love to do it. We'll have to do it separately. Maybe like a sister podcast. I don't know. We'll have to work that out, Bora. Thanks for the suggestion, Asanka. Bora and I will have a chat and we'll see what we can do. Let's wrap it up there, Bora.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot to end today's podcast. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us today. Hope you enjoyed our chat.
Yeah, keep sending your questions and comments. We love to hear from you. Send them to our email, srilankancricketpodcast@gmail.com.
Give us a follow on our socials and tell a friend about our podcast. Chances are, if you like this podcast, your friends will like it too.
Yeah, please, and give us a rating as well. That will allow us to go up in the rankings. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.